Good afternoon, Istanbul. Greetings from Finland. My name is Satu Järvinen. I'm a doctoral candidate in the Department of Education at the University of Turku. In this presentation, I will tell you about my ongoing dissertation research about empowerment of people with cerebral palsy. My long-term dream came true 3 years ago when my non-fiction book about cerebral palsy and living with it was published. Many people with CP told that they have tried to deny the impairment and shame themselves. I have never shamed myself because of my own diagnosis of cerebral palsy, so this surprising finding led me to explore a very interesting combination of this congenital and permanent physical impairment and empowerment. The main purpose of this qualitative lifespan research is to give a voice to one group of quite silent and marginalized people of Finnish society, adults with CP. It is important to make their experiences more visible. There is need for disability studies outside of medical field, not only in Finland but all over the world. By showing that every person has a unique and valuable story to tell, it's possible to empower both storytellers and readers. Perhaps this gives us a chance to change the general attitudes. This is an important way to make the empowerment easier for people with cerebral palsy and other impairments as well. This research is part of a bigger life story project among disabled people in Finland, coordinated by the Threshold Association. It is a disability organization that was founded in 1973 by disabled people, and its main mission is based on 3 elements: human rights, independent living and culture, all to empower disabled people in Finland. Research data consists of about 30 autobiographical life stories collected from different sources. All these texts have published in the 21st century. The time dimension in these documents is wide because the oldest writer is over 80 and the youngest is about 20 years old. They are both women and men among the writers, and they live in different parts of Finland. In qualitative data-based content analysis, the main attention has been at the individual level, but no one of us live in a vacuum, so in addition, some changes which have taken place in our society during last decades will also be under examination. Nothing about us without us has been the major principle of this narrative research in every phase of it. By analyzing and interpreting the written stories of real life, I'm trying to more profoundly understand the chance of empowerment experienced by Finnish adults with cerebral palsy. With this research, I'm searching answers to the following questions. Which factors promote and which prevent the acceptance of cerebral palsy as part of identity? Which things facilitate and which complicate the empowerment as an individual, subject-based and social process? Now it's time to tell you some facts about cerebral palsy. While cerebral palsy is a blanket term commonly referred to as CP and described by loss or impairment of motor function, cerebral palsy is actually caused by brain damage. The brain damage is caused by brain injury or abnormal development of the brain that occurs while a child's brain is still developing before birth, during birth or soon after birth. Always, however, during first 2 years of life. So in fact there's no time before and after impairment. Though cerebral palsy can be defined, having cerebral palsy does not define the person who has this condition, at least it should not do so. Cerebral palsy affects body movement, muscle control, muscle coordination, muscle tone, reflex, posture and balance. It can also impact fine motor skills, gross motor skills and oral motor functioning. Cerebral palsy causes always physical impairment. However, the type of movement dysfunction, the location and number of limbs involved as well as the extent of impairment will vary from one individual to another. It can affect arms, legs and even the face. It can affect one limb, several or all. Every case of cerebral palsy is unique to the individual. Cerebral palsy is damage to the brain that cannot currently be fixed. Treatment and therapy help manage effects on the body. A brain lesion is the result of a one-time brain injury and will not produce further degeneration of the brain. Cerebral palsy itself will not change for better or worse during a person's lifetime. On the other hand, associative conditions may improve or worsen over time. The impairment caused by cerebral palsy is still manageable. For example, treatment, therapy, surgery, medications and assistive technology can help maximize independence, reduce barriers, increase inclusion and thus lead to an enhanced quality of life. Many individuals with cerebral palsy have associative conditions like speech problems, epilepsy, vision or hearing loss, and learning difficulties like dyslexia, for example. What is empowerment? Despite increasing attention on the topic of empowerment, our understanding of the construct and its underlying processes are still quite limited. It's so complex phenomena to define. Commonly shared opinion is that empowerment is always something positive, but it's hard to say when someone is exactly empowered. Empowerment is an interactive process which occurs between the individuals and their environment. It's about managing to gain more control over your own life, either by yourself or with the help of others. Empowerment is both a process and an outcome. Empowerment can be seen as becoming an able subject in one's own life and becoming powerful. The first step in this complex process is to accept cerebral palsy as a part of the identity. For many people, this has been a long journey from shame to pride. Accurate information and peer support are needed as early as possible. There are still many misconceptions about this lifelong condition, even among the doctors. It's still quite common that many medical experts and so-called ordinary people think that CP is mental retardation. A child with cerebral palsy can be seen as a hopeless case with no potential to develop at all. Equal rights are said to give empowerment and the ability to make decisions and the opportunity to live life to the fullest. Although Finland has taken first steps toward inclusive education for a long time ago, we have many things to do so that every school will be ready to open doors for every child. Now it's time for some preliminary results of my research. These sentences are examples of some negative and dismissive comments that many people with cerebral palsy thought they were used to hear. It is very frustrating if you have to hear what you can't do or how hard everything would be over and over again, and even in many everyday living situations. It takes a lot of courage to show that these assumptions are false. It is quite hard to understand that some people think that you can't read, write or think clearly if you use a wheelchair, no matter how highly educated you are. But like life stories showed, people living with cerebral palsy live a normal life with the impairment, their lifelong partner. They have studied, they are working, raising their children and having diverse hobbies. They enjoy life just like others. The parents have a crucial role in the dynamic process of empowerment. Every child should be seen primarily as a child, not as a living diagnosis. If parents don't accept the child just the way she is, the acceptance of cerebral palsy as part of identity can take even decades. If the child feels that he is good enough right from the beginning, impairment can be a normal part of personality, not the whole life. The life stories clearly showed that with suitable education and encouraging examples, it's easy to achieve a capable identity and more active role in your own life. Having much more opportunities to say, yes I can, instead of just dreaming, if I only could. A lot of sisu and creativity are however needed when overcoming all those visible and invisible barriers. The small Nordic country Finland has a cultural construct known as sisu, used to describe the enigmatic power that enables individuals to push through unbearable challenges. Sisu can be described as a psychological key competence which enables extraordinary action to overcome a mentally or physically challenging situation. What should we do to get things even better? The parents, teachers and employers should see people with cerebral palsy as unique individuals with many abilities and maybe some challenges. CP is just one part of us, so it's finally time to see what is behind impairments. We need a more positive general attitude toward different people and not underestimating abilities and the potential quality of life of those living with cerebral palsy and other diagnoses too. The life isn't disabled with suitable aids, sufficient help, positive discrimination, accessible environment, etc. Full participation and equality are still far away, but every single step towards them is worth taking. We should never give up. Could impairment like CP be a real strength of a person someday? We will see.